Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fin River Forum. And my name is Bernard Eshibantin in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, this is the first time. I will I'll appeal to you, ask you to subscribe, share with your friends and family. Let them know how informative, educational this particular channel is. It's unscripted. We don't script anything, but we talk about issues of national, international importance. It can be issues about geopolitical issues, economic, educational, cultural, legal. As a matter of fact, all issues, unfolding issues around the world is what we talk about. We don't write anything down. It's not scripted. That's how authentic this particular channel is. It's Offin River Forum. Share and let everybody know about it. And so today's conversation will be focused on the role of the judiciary or the court in representative democracy. Let me repeat myself. Today's discussion is going to focus on the role, the unique role of the court or supreme judiciary in representative democracy. What do we mean by representative democracy? In representative democracy is a system of government where citizens rule through their elected officials or certain people they have chosen to represent their interests. So if you vote in the free and fair elections for a particular candidate or for somebody to represent you in parliament or in Congress, in the White House, presidency, you are school board or wherever, you are in a way practicing representative system or representative democracy. So it's a system of government where people rule indirectly through their representatives, people they select and vote for them in the free and fair elections. So those people, elected officials, will represent the interests of the people of that particular area, that particular country. So simply, that is what representative democracy. So let me give you a specific or typical example, few examples. Of course, United States, they gave contemporary meaning of representative system of democracy when they established their system in 1787. Of course, and Ghana practiced representative democracy. Nigeria practiced representative democracy. United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, France, Germany, Italy, all those countries, South Africa, all these countries I've mentioned practice representative democracy. The people in representative democracy or republic form of government is the same thing. People rule indirectly through their representative, their elected officials. And this system of government thrives, work well on the rule of law. This system of government, representative democracy, thrives well or work very, very well on the rule of law. What is the rule of law? Rule of law is a principle, it's a political principle that says that all people in a particular area are accountable equally to the country's laws or constitution. In other words, nobody is above the law. When you commit a crime or you are suspected of a crime, then the law must be applied fairly and equally, whether you're a president, whether you're a member of parliament, whoever you are, under representative democracy and the system where the rule of law, the law rules, everybody is accountable equally before the law. So simple, that is what the rule of law means. And how can this rule of law function, operate at its optimum level? It is the court. See, when United States created their system based on representative democracy, they put in place some institutional structures. And example of these institutional structures are, they have 3 branches of government, which is separation of powers. They have judiciary, they have executive branch, and they have legislative branch. So the executive branch is headed by the president or the prime minister in case of Britain or Israel. And then we have the legislature or the Parliament or Congress, where we have either the Speaker, or in the United States they have Speaker, and then they have two chamber system. United States they have Senate and House of Representatives. So in the House of Representatives, it's headed by the Speaker, and then when you go to the Senate, they have the majority leader who run day-to-day activities of that place. But constitutionally, the Vice President of the United States is the head of the Senate, even though he or she doesn't take part of the deliberations unless he's coming there to break a tie. She or he is part of the executive, so you hardly see the Vice President of the United States in the Senate. But according to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States is the head of the Senate, but he or she doesn't take part in the debate in that chamber, in the Senate. The majority party leader runs the show over there. So, coming back to the role, so they have that institutional structures, and each of these, judiciary, executive, and the Congress or Parliament, legislative branch, each of them are co-equal branches of government, and each of them check on the powers of the other. So each of them has power to do one thing, one and only one thing under the Constitution. One, the judiciary role is to adjudicate, interpret the law. They explain that this particular law is constitutional or unconstitutional. It is applied equally or not. That's the role of the judiciary. And then when you come to executive, they execute the law. Their main function is to enforce or execute the law. And Parliament or Congress make the law. So that is how the institutional structures or under representative democracy works. Okay, so back to the role of the court. Like I said, the basic foundation of representative democracy is based on the rule of law, that everybody is equal before the law, and that the institution of the government that is tasked of ensuring that the law is worked to the specification of the Constitution, how it's supposed to be, the institution that explains that particular aspect is judiciary, the court. So court system, the court, under representative democracy such as we have in the United States or Nigeria or Ghana, is very, very important. They play a very significant, important role in support of representative democracy. So if you have a representative democracy like we have in the United States or Ghana or Nigeria, and we have a dysfunctional court system, or Supreme Court is ineffective or independent, then we may not have a true or a strong representative democracy. So why am I saying all this? See, there's a tendency for some people to try to eat their food or cake and then want to turn around and to have it back. You have a cake, you eat it, and then you want to turn around and say, where's my cake? So what I'm saying is, you hear some people who, under representative democracy, they always talk about how they want freedom of speech, freedom of the press, media, freedom to petition their government, freedom to demonstrate, freedom of religion, everything. But at the same time, when it comes to interpretation of the Constitution, that does not go in their favor, then they have a problem with the court system. But if you undermine the court, system, then you don't have democracy. You don't have representative democracy that you enjoy or you live under. So that is the point I was trying to make, that you cannot eat your cake and have it. On one hand, you insist on your right. And the institution that makes sure that if you have any issue about your rights under the Constitution has been violated, it's not the president, it's not the executive branch, it's not the court that determine that, yes, indeed, your rights or your liberties has been violated. It's the court that does that, the judiciary. And so if citizens undermine the court, then we may not have your right. In a way, you are undermining your own liberties and your right. So that is how important court plays. The court, under democratic representative democracy, are there. They are the guardians of the Constitution. And the Constitution gives meaning to the rights and liberties of the people. And the only institution that has the power to interpret, to explain the Constitution, that if a citizen's right is violated or trampled upon by one branches of the government, especially the executive, the police, or whatever, the only place that a citizen can go for a recourse or redress is the court. And so if you're a citizen in a court, render a verdict or a decision, and you have a problem with it because you disagree with it, then you are in so many ways undermining the very concept of the freedom that you claim to enjoy. So let me go explain further. So the court play a very, very important role in democratic or representative democracy, like we have in United States or Ghana or Nigeria. And so, for example, if an issue, say interest group or a citizen can sue the government, can sue the executive branch, or can sue a law that they think is unconstitutional, the very place, the place that can determine that indeed that particular law under contention is constitutional or unconstitutional is the court that will do that. And so, lately you hear some countries that live under representative democracy, they have issue with the court. That if a court render a verdict, somehow somebody can go against the court verdict. No, it is not. It doesn't work that way. If a court, a Supreme Court especially, which is the highest court of the land, if they declare that a certain particular law is unconstitutional, that becomes the supreme law of the land. The only way, if it's a constitutional issue, the only way it can be changed or that country can do something about it is constitutional amendment. And constitutional amendment is a very tedious and complex, very, very complex process. It doesn't happen that often, but that's the only way, unless it's a statute. In other words, it's a law, parliamentary enactment or parliamentary law or congressional law where Congress can go back to the drawing board and restructure or, readjust the law. They can go back if it's a law that passed by Congress. But any law that has been enshrined in the Constitution and Supreme Court rule on that particular constitutional issue, it becomes the supreme law of the land. If the Constitution, it goes that the law is unconstitutional, that becomes the supreme law of the land. If it says constitutional, it also becomes supreme law of the land. So that is the unique role the court. That's how important court plays in. I'm not talking about tyrannical government, like government we have in Cuba, in North Korea or China, where we have one-party system. I'm talking about democracy, the countries, the true representative democracy of countries I've given example to. In that system, the court play a very, very important because they are the guardians of the Constitution. They interpret, they explain that this particular law is constitutional or not. And that when they rule on the law, nobody can challenge it. The only way, you can challenge it, but the only way you can challenge it, you can express your views, but that's about it. If you want to change it, then it has to be done under constitutional amendment, where they do something to the Constitution. And it will take it's a long process. It involves almost the whole country, either referendum or something like that, unless it's a law that is passed by Congress or Parliament. And that law, Parliament, yes, they make laws. They have the sole power. They can go back, because they can go back and say, okay, if the judiciary has ruled on this particular law we made, and we think that the court got it wrong, which they are all human beings, they can be wrong. If that's the case, then Parliament can do something about it. But any constitutional issue, when it comes to constitutional issues, nobody can do anything. It becomes, you may disagree with it, but it's not the only thing we can do is it has to go to constitutional amendment process to either readjust the law or make a law to counter that particular verdict or decision by the court. Other than that, Supreme Court plays a very significant, important role, and if they rule on the case, it becomes what? But I understand that sometimes we have a lot of people in particular countries who lack context, a sense of context in which to face reality. And people like that, they tend to have a very limited appreciation or understanding of even the world around them. And so, anytime they hear something, the Supreme Court, the court rule on certain things, they start bashing the court or trying to undermine that system, that particular verdict. It's nothing. Under the constitutional rule, through representative democracy, like we have in the United States, we have in Ghana, we have in Nigeria, when the court rules, it becomes the supreme law of the land. And so, if we were, like James Madison, one of the chief architects of the Constitution, said, if every constitutional issue were to be decided in public space, right, then the Constitution will be reduced to what? Like somehow like a battleground of competing factions, emotions, and innuendos and insult. And that would be a banana republic or uncivilized society. But we live in the modern civilized world where we have institutional structures, laws, and others. And if you have any redress or any cause for concern that your right or certain law is unconstitutional, the only place to go is the court. When it goes to the court and the court rules, it becomes the law of the land, the supreme law. And again, the only place, the constitutional issue, if the Supreme Court rule on a case and it's more constitutional issue, the only way it can be changed is through constitutional amendment. That's about it. That's how important, that's how significant, that's how powerful Supreme Court is in a constitutional, in representative democracy, democratic system, as we have in United States or Ghana. So that's what I have for you today. And once again, this is Ophir River Forum. My name is Bernard Eshibontin, and I hope you enjoy the little government or political science we have today. And I'll see you another time. Have a good day.